All right, hey everybody, welcome to Crown Council Live. I'm your host, Stuart Anderson. It is May 21st. We're grateful to have you with us today, whether you're watching recorded or you're watching live. This is our weekly broadcast where we connect with our Crown Council community. We share stories that are happening across the membership. We talk to our resource partners, we talk to our doctors, our team members, live events, everything that we are doing to help you build a culture of success in your practice. So thank you for joining us today. We've got some live guests from Dental Intel who are joining us. And before we let them into the live stream, I just want to share my screen real quick. We are going to share our weekly totals for Smiles for Life. Incredible. As of May 18th, we have raised $648,000 with some of our top offices last week, Southwest Dental Group and Coleman and Dastrup. We have some offices who have already raised over $20,000 just for grins, the Angwins, Monson Mayer at $19,000 and Dr. Ed White at White Family Dental at $15,000. So here's our top list. We just sent it out. Along with this, you also saw an email this morning on the email network from Jim Cook from Xlure and the Clear Aligner Company, which makes it possible for you to donate to Smiles for Life beyond whitening. There's a Clear Aligner program that allows you to donate through his service, through his products, through Xlure and their clear aligners. So connect with Jim. That's another way to do good through Smiles for Life. And my final announcement about Smiles for Life, our upcoming humanitarian trips are in need of some more Smiles for Life participants, some Crown Council offices and doctors to participate and attend those humanitarian trips. There's about 15 openings for our fall trips. And if you are available and willing to go, contact the Crown Council office, 1-800-276 9658. You can talk to Aaron, and Aaron will get you all of the details for attending, the cost, the dates, the products that you'll take with you as you attend the humanitarian trip. So, big encouragement and big push for Crown Council members to join us for our fall humanitarian trips. We would love to have you join us. So, beyond that, we are signing up people for the 2027 annual event in Nashville. If you can believe it, we have 700 Crown Council offices, 700 Crown Council members already signed up to attend. We sign up about 15 a week. We've started monthly payments, so if that's a good system that fits your practice, paying monthly until we arrive at January to be with us at the annual event. That started this month. We would love to have you with us. This is going to be the largest gathering of Crown Council members and team members. And we are excited to have our Thursday concert at the Ryman Theater, our charity concert with stars from Nashville. They're going to be with us. That'll be a great way to kick off the annual event in Nashville 2027. So if you go to crowncouncil.com, there's a link up at the top of crowncouncil.com on the homepage for the annual event. That's the best place to find all the information. All your questions can be answered there, as well as a registration link. So, good housekeeping. We're grateful for everybody doing Smiles for Life. What an incredible outpouring of service. Thank you. We've got another month and a half to push and finish strong for the year. So, looking forward to celebrating and seeing everyone's totals for Smiles for Life. Very good. All right, I think we have Ashley from Dental Intel. She is going to be joining us today. If DJ can let her in, I'll just do a short introduction. I don't think that Ashley has ever been on our program with us, although I'm going to have to double check with her. But hi, Ashley.
Hi, Stuart. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for being on time. Sometimes the time zone adjustment doesn't quite translate through our communication. So good job. Thumbs up.
We're good. Hey, I had a leg up with home office being in Utah,
Oh,
so
perfect. Yeah.
I'm used to the 2 hour with Eastern. So thank you. But I did miss
Great.
the Hawaiian memo.
Oh, I know, right? I thought to myself, why not? It's May 21st. We're kicking off.
I'm loving it.
Nice weather. Thanks.
I love it.
Hey, well, grateful that you're going to be with us. You are our only live guest today. I've got a couple recorded segments, so we have all the time in the world. So let's get started. If I was in the elevator with you, and I said, Ashley, describe what you do, describe your company. Can you give us some high level information about Dental Intel and what you do?
Absolutely. Yes, thank you. Yeah. So I am the Director of Partner Sales Enablement and Marketing here. So in a nutshell, support our partners and our partner team, help our partners be as successful as possible in the dental space with their offices, right? Our end user is our dental practices. And so most folks have heard of Dental Intelligence, right? Got about 10,000 practices now and growing. But if you haven't, for the ones that are new to the game and are just hearing the name, I think the best way to describe Dental Intelligence is an all-in-one practice performance solution that syncs with practice management software to make your life as easy as possible as a dental professional. Our goal is to, what we say, make it more rewarding to be a dental professional and easier to be a dental patient. So that really sums it up. If we were in an elevator, Stuart, what I tell people a lot is the best way I think to describe it is from the minute that patient makes their first appointment, whether it's on the phone with the practice or through the website online, all the way down to the minute a penny is collected from that patient or their insurance, and every step in between, Dental Intelligence has a tool to solve for it.
I love that. That's good. So I asked you for some great questions to kind of lead our discussion today. And that
Absolutely.
is our first question is maybe talk about that. What does it take for a dental practice to truly, I mean, to truly connect? Crown Council, we spend a lot of time training our teams to say we're greeting and then we're moving the patient from one step to the next. Can you talk about how dental intelligence helps with that or what you know about making that experience for the patient the best from first contact to final payment?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
Okay.
think it all comes down to the having the continuity within the practice and the systems that speak to one another, and that really keeps things fluid for the patient. It allows them to really have the best experience possible with a practice. It's 2026 now. People don't really want nor have the time to spend on the phone, right? For multiple reasons. They're busy at work. The time then that they can call and schedule an appointment is on their way into work, their lunch break and after work. And before and after work, offices generally closed. Everybody goes to lunch together. So it doesn't work well. And so we got to meet the patients where they're at. And the great thing that Dental Intelligence does, it allows it to really let patients schedule, pay, fill out forms, do all the things that they want to do from the comfort of their computer or their cell phone, Stuart. And they don't really have to get on the phone. You still got people that love to pick up the phone, and that's fantastic. But for the folks that want to do things quickly, be efficient, the tools that Dental Intelligence brings to the table just really allows them to, have everything seamlessly under one roof there and make sure, the branding's the same. There's continuity. It doesn't feel like it's I'll say piecemeal together.
Right, right.
And when you have lots of different systems, some things end up looking different. It's funny. I not dentistry related, but my car dealership, they sent me an email and then a couple weeks later sent me a text, and the branding was very different. I thought it was spam. Like, kind of thought the text was a scam, and I was a little interested because they're running a special for car detailing. And
Right.
after winter, your car's gross, and I'm thinking, I don't need, I'm like, I called the dealership and I'm like, was this you all?
Is
And
it
she's
you
like,
guys?
well,
Yeah.
yeah, but that just shows we can confuse the consumers with different, when we send mixed messages from different vendors that aren't, they're not congruent. And so I
Yeah.
think that when you have everything together, it really, really changes the game and makes it simpler.
That's a good point. Let's maybe dig in there then. Um, Unifying, like I've got this little list you gave me: scheduling, forms, payments, performance data, all of those. And I mean, you could list 100 things where each of those systems has their own login information. They have their own form systems. Talk about um, the leaders of these teams unifying all those systems under one platform. Just can you talk about that for a minute?
I will. Yeah, I think that is a great thing to discuss because occasionally you'll meet folks and they're like, yeah, I don't want all my eggs in one basket. And I respect that, right? Yeah, I come from
Right.
a dental marketing background and people want to diversify, and that's great. But when it comes to these types of tools that we're talking about today, that unification is so important. And not only from the patient perspective, but if I'm the office manager, I'm still hearing from lots of practices about staffing shortages, Stuart. And so when you consider onboarding someone at the practice, you're bringing on a new employee. Teaching them five, six, seven different systems is super overwhelming for not only that new employee, but also the office manager and the person coaching them. On top of that, if you're not bringing on somebody new, you're generally cross-trained, right, as a employee at the practice, and you might wear two or three hats. If your main job is an assistant or financial coordinator or what have you at the practice, and you're cross-trained to do these other things, whether that's insurance verification or sending out statements, things like that, you are not going to want to be working in your practice management software and Dentrix or EagleSoft or Open Dental, whatever you all have, and then hopping into 3, 4 more ancillary systems. It's not efficient, and it can be, I just use the word overwhelming. I can just imagine as a new employee how overwhelming that would be to learn multiple systems. And then I think at the end of the day, the patient, we can't leave out from the patient's perspective, just the simplicity of being able to do so many things under one system, get their insurance verified, schedule
Right.
their appointment on the website, fill out forms electronically, have their treatment plans presented to them electronically, sign them electronically, pay, not have to call or mail a check to the practice. And so being able to pay online, there's just so many different things nowadays that we can do with technology to meet the patient where they're at. And I think it helps both the patient and the practice employees.
Absolutely, especially that patient experience, which I love, to improve, to make it more seamless, less friction, all
Yeah,
those things that help the patient. Um,
absolutely.
when you talk to different offices and they share with you some of the challenges that they have, what do you think is that the biggest challenge, some of the biggest operational challenges that they face when that journey is fragmented across multiple different tools?
Yeah, it's really hard to just keep up with things, Stuart. I mean, if you I can remember it's been about probably it's almost been a year. I met with a practice and we talked about unscheduled treatment. I love to use that as an example, but following up on unscheduled treatment, right? So many practices are thinking, oh, Ashley Best was presented $10,000 in treatment. She said not right now because of XYZ. And then I fall through the cracks. Chances of me picking up the phone in 6 months and saying, "Hey, Stuart, I'm ready to give you 10 grand," few and far between, right? So
Right.
having a system in place to follow up with unscheduled treatment. I had a doctor and office manager tell me on this call about a year ago, like, "Hey, we just throw it into a spreadsheet." And I'm like, "Okay, that's great. Does that like talk back to your practice management software?" And like, "Well, no, well, no." And
Now,
I'm like, "Tell me how long you're spending." And they're like, "It's not long to input it into the spreadsheet, maybe 5 or 10 minutes." But then we go back up, and if we have an off day where people have missed some appointments, we'll tell 2 or 3 people, "Hey, start working on this list." And then what happens is they all get confused. They're like, "Did you call Stuart?" "No, I was going to call Stuart." And so when these systems are not connected, you lose track of things really quickly.
yeah,
Patients fall through the cracks. And then another challenge too, Stuart, is not having the integration with practice management. If that's right, and that's what we pride ourselves on, is having those true integrations here at Dental Intelligence. Obviously, you've got softwares out there that kind of backdoor their way into these PMSs, and that creates a ton of friction as well. So, we're really big on having a true integration with Dentrix, with Henry Schein, with EagleSoft and Patterson, and with Open Dental. And so, and a few more, and some new ones coming too, which is super exciting. A lot of offices moving towards the cloud. But what that does is it allows everything to live cohesively. It's going to always be in practice management. That's read write relationships so important, and just saves the office so much time. And
right.
then the patient experience is, there's no questions. It's like when I get in there, I'm not looking at the other person going, "Oh, did we verify Stuart? No, hold on. Stuart, actually don't think we verified you." And, "Oh, we
Oh,
were a little off. Your out of pocket's actually going to be," it's downhill spiral from there when things aren't connected. And I think it truly seeps through into the patient's experience when the office is disorganized.
yeah, yeah, I agree. And I've seen that, as we go into offices and try to train just culture tools, having multiple different, I even use the word just like logins, like I'm checking this system, I'm checking that systems, like who's logging into this system. It's so nice to have it integrated, I think, for the patient experience. A great opportunity. So
Absolutely.
um, let's talk about, as we kind of wrap up, what will you say the most successful dental practices, what will define them over the next few years? Can you talk about that? What you're seeing, because from your perspective, from where
Mhm.
you are in the dental world, you can see like where the best practices are going, the things that the best practices in your world are doing. Can you talk about that for a minute? Like what are they setting themselves up to do over the next few years?
Yeah, great question. And I always say, would you rather have more or would you rather have better tools, right? Because if you wanted to go be that practice that can say, "Look at, open your coat and show them all the shiny objects,"
The
right?
watches?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
exactly. You get where I'm going with that. But there's a software for everything, right? I mean, I could take Dental Intelligence and parse it out and tell you, hey, Stuart, go get these 10 different softwares that aren't connected. And sure, you have more tools, but are they better? Are you genuinely doing a better job for your
Right.
staff and for your team and then for your patients as well? Obviously, I think a lot of sometimes we fall into this shiny object syndrome. Obviously, AI is, the buzzword and has been for a few years now. And, we just released a press statement, a press release saying that we're about to add some unique tools to the software that are more AI focused. And I kind of made a little bit of a joke about it when I made my post on LinkedIn saying I've been told like, hey, DI, you're late to the game when it comes to AI. And that was very intentional because a lot of companies went and just grabbed at stuff that really, it looked good in the demo environment and it's kind of that shiny object, but it wasn't really solving a problem. So we sat back and said, hey, we work with so many practices and we want to really understand where the roadblocks are each day in these practices and what's creating friction with the patients and the internal workings of the practice. And so our product team and our technology team was so intentional about the way we've integrated AI into the software that now that it's
Mm.
coming out, practices are a little more comfortable using it now. They're understanding, hey, this isn't really going to take my job like everyone's saying. I still need team members at the dental practice. And so they're feeling a little more comfortable with it, but now they're using it to solve the problems that it was meant to solve. And by us waiting a little bit and sitting back and saying, hey, let's just not throw a bunch of more features
Right.
into this software because it's feature overload at some point, feature overload. And that can be overwhelming, to know a system can do so much. It can also be really comforting to know that you have the support of an online tool like Dental Intelligence. So yeah, so I think adopting some of these AI things pretty strategically, things that we don't need to go full blown AI, and some of the things that I've seen just make little sense for a dental practice. But I'm super
Yeah.
excited for what we're introducing, and I think the best practices are going to use what they have efficiently and use their tools at their disposal better instead of adding more and more to their plate. Right? It's just one more thing for them to have
Yeah.
to learn instead of
Yeah.
learning one thing really well.
Whenever I talk about this going forward, I'm going to envision that guy opening his coat. That was great. It was a good.
Oh,
All
look
my
at all my
tools.
features, right? Yeah, it's great. It can do it all. But yeah, at the end of the day, what we talked about earlier is just the efficiencies and time savings and the logins is such a big one, Stuart. That's,
Mm.
the single sign-on is like something that's so popular nowadays, being able to have one username and password and be able to
Yeah.
access multiple places. I mean, I saw a meme the other day that said I can remember all the lyrics to the songs from 1990s, but I can't remember my password that I made 2 days ago. And it's me.
That's
That's
great.
me. I can't. There's so, it's like one password and all these tools to help me remember. And then pretty soon you're like, no, I give up. I need one tool, one login.
Ashley, anything that we missed? Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up?
I think we did a really good job of covering
Okay.
everything. But yeah, I mean, just the one stop, all in one solution, just, obviously we're the leaders in the analytics space. I know a lot of Crown Council members have used our analytics tool very successfully. Um, there may be some practices that don't realize we have the tools to now act on that data, just with the few acquisitions of some companies in the last 5, 6 years with Dental Intelligence. So yeah, just driving home that point that while we do have that data rich piece of the analytics side, we've also got the other half of the solution to make sure you can act on that data.
Very cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Ashley, I've got a landing page for you on crowncouncil.com. You can go into our resource partners hub, search for dental intelligence, and up will pop all of their information, including let's make sure. So I've got Patterson on the connect. Is
That's
that good? Thumbs up?
Zach's the man. Yeah,
Okay,
Zach's
Zach's the man.
traveling, so he couldn't be here. So he
Okay,
he slid me in. But yeah, Zach Patterson, Z Patterson at Dental Intel. If you have questions, I'm always available to happy to answer anything and be a resource for anyone that has questions. So
okay. Thank you, Ashley. Great having you on today.
thanks, Stuart. Appreciate it. So nice to see you.
You too. Okay,
Uh,
bye-bye.
bye.
All right, I might navigate to, so if you look at crowncouncil.com, let's navigate real quick to see dental intelligence. So this is the dental intelligence page inside crowncouncil.com, and all of our resource partners can be found if we go to the resource partner hub. And the best way that I do this is you can either go up here to the search engine, type their name in, or we have them broken out into different categories. Very easy to find. and then the personal information for each of these resource partners, which we ask for someone who is our personal liaison, our guide in these companies that, and some of them are very big. It's nice to be able to know that we can talk to Zach at Dental Intelligence and he is our guy. One thing we released a couple weeks ago here, just I want to take just 1 minute. We have some exclusive offers from our resource partners. These are offers only given to Crown Council members. If you click here, up pops a Google Doc, and all of those offers that are available to you, discounts, you name it, are right here on this little Google Doc. Um, Really fun. We collected these over the last little bit. But each of them have a special offer just for Crown Council members that you can reach out to these different resource partners for and get these offers. So that's kind of cool. All right, very good. All right, we did a couple recorded interviews. One, I'm not going to play much of it. I actually don't know which part I'm going to play. But Steve and I sat down with Dr. Sam Zarabi. Sam, the one of the co-founders of Rodeo Dental. And I'm going to play, this is an hour-long Mentor of the Month that we're going to release next week. And I'm just going to play a little bit from it so you can get a taste of Sam and we can get a taste of what's to come. So you can watch the whole thing. This is on the Crown Council website coming up, video or audio. Oops, I got to make sure I share my sound. Hold on. Okay, I'm just going to play it from the beginning. We'll watch this for about 10 minutes. You can learn from Sam, and then I'll move on to another interview that we have that's recorded. Okay, here we go.
How do you pronounce Zarabi?
Makes it easier. Just go
It
with the
does.
Z. You know, you got Zorro, you got some great Z's historically.
That's
So
I love origin stories, and we're going to start with that, your origin story way back. And with this as context, I had somebody share with me at one point that uh, work ethic is one of the most important ingredients for success, and that
yes.
one of the indicators of work ethic is how early you started to work. At what
Yes.
age did you have your first paying job? So we're going to go all the way back to the beginning,
Okay.
early family life, first job. Give us the Dr. Z origin story.
Origin story. All right. Interestingly, I was born in London, and my family came over after the revolution in Iran, dispersed family around the world. And so popped out in London, lived there briefly, and then my first memories of growing up were in Los Angeles, California, where my parents moved into a small one-bedroom apartment in Encino, California. And I think part of what happened from that traumatic experience in life of disbursement and family and all the things of your life getting flipped upside down, my parents ended up getting separated and divorced at a very young age of 4. So it was pretty much me and my mom in that little one bedroom apartment in LA. And so my first memories are kind of growing up in LA and going to school there and LAUSD. And then ultimately, my mom ended up meeting who would become my future stepfather, Dr. Rod, my first dentist in life, around 6 years old. And so, they were hanging out, and my first sort of dental experience was seeing that practice. And so I, given life and kind of things, I was an only child, hung out a lot in the dental practice. I grew up watching him work, and he was phenomenal with patients. Still this day, he practices 40 years in Woodland Hills, California, and he is just a very patient first, servant hearted practice where people will come in just to see him, and he would always work on doing anything and everything to make the patients happy,
Yeah.
whether it was through financial sacrifice or just go the extra mile or just take the time and creating that sort of gentle experience. He was phenomenal. So got to see that in action while watching I Love Lucy episodes in the break room and on the rabbit ears back in the day. And then as I got older, I got to do some chores, clean up the practice, for a few bucks, clean the toilets and do all that. And then into my teenage years, I actually started to learn some of the back office admin. You know, he had me. I happened to be good at math, and I was interested. I don't know why, but I like doing some of the accounting stuff. So I would run the payables and kind of look at how the bank account was running and help him deal with taxes, and also got to watch him deal with the burden of practice management and how that affected him and stressed him out. So all of that and end up going to UCLA, and wasn't really interested in dental at the time too much. I liked medicine, but dental wasn't quite my story. I always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and so ultimately, while I was at UCLA, short stint, I decided to possibly try to build a internet concert company. This is in 1999. Nobody knows this story really, so I'll just share it with
Yes.
you. I guess you guys are gonna bring out the good stuff. Um, but halfway through school, when the internet was kind of becoming a big thing, I had this idea of creating this place where people can come and share photos and videos and exchange market and be this sort of social network. This is pre YouTube, Facebook, all that in 99. So I had this business plan I wrote out. I worked with mentors, shopped it around to try to raise capital, and we did end up putting together something to where they said, "Hey, internet doesn't make money. Why don't you guys go do promoting of events and concerts," which my partner was doing, and that'll fund it. So I drop out of school, I go push that. We throw concerts in the Midwest for about a year. Ended up doing Ludacris, Mystical, some other big rappers, and failed miserably, which was awesome. It was my this is a whole nother story, but we don't have time for that today. But came back to school at UCLA and saw that dental provided stability, dental provided opportunity. I saw that there was great, understanding healthcare. I loved medicine. I love serving people. I was like, oh, let me give this a shot. I'll be more open-minded. And that is where I ended up luckily meeting Dr. Bill Dorfman, great
Mm.
Crown Council representative, and got the opportunity to do an internship in his practice. So for a couple years, I got to watch the man in action during Extreme Makeover and Discus and Zoom exploding, and he opened my eyes to, wow, there's such a world beyond the dental practice and the four walls we lock ourselves in. This is somebody who created a whole nother business and all this blue ocean around growing opportunity in the dental space. And so that experience catapulted me into dental school, where I ended up at Pacific and got to meet the future partner of mine and my wife and Dr. Mansour and Dagoni, and the story sort of blossoms from there.
Awesome. Can I ask a little follow-up?
Yeah, yeah,
Was there anybody early on that when you look back there was a great mentorship or
yeah.
even like a fun story or something that happened to you that you were like had a realization or that shaped the way that you live and practice now?
Yeah, great question. And you asked me my first job. So I would say my one of my first mentors was Master Park, my Taekwondo teacher,
Hmm.
which I started Taekwondo at 6, 7 years old. Got my black belt when I was 13, and
Hmm.
he was old school, Korean teacher, but also he also kind of had this entrepreneurial spirit, but also instilled this discipline in me and around just staying consistent to daily practices that will lead to consistent and good results. And you can achieve greatness. Like truly, the USA Taekwondo Olympic team trained at our studio. So I got to watch
Wow.
some of the best in the world who daily put in these daily disciplines, and over time you would get these incredible results that would lead to Olympic greatness, right? So um, my first job was teaching Taekwondo to um, basically 3.5 to 4 year olds, all the way up to 80-year-olds.
Great training.
Yeah, not easy. Yeah,
That's awesome.
very cool.
Take us to you started down the path of dental school, and
Yeah.
one of the things big concepts that we promote and advocate in the Crown Council is the whole mastermind concept. Two or more minds joined together with a common purpose create more than the sum of the parts. And your business mastermind started in dental school. You rattled off a couple names, and those listening probably don't know those names. So share a little bit with us about in dental school where your current practice is. That's where your practice got started, was in dental school.
Yeah, I didn't even know it, but started in 2005, and in my class were Dr. Brian Degoni and Dr. Yahya Mansour, who ended up becoming my best friends first in school, and ultimately over 3 years we worked on different projects together. We were on the clinic advisory board together, which is kind of a mini mastermind to run the clinical practice at the school. We created a whole program called Project Homeless Connect, and so we had these projects that we kind of worked on that required a bit of masterminding, and that was my sort of first exposure. And in 2008, when the great financial crisis happened and we graduated, we had to figure out how to get jobs in markets where we could start paying our loans off. And so found something in Texas. And once I had done that, and as we started to continue to talk, I was like, why don't we all go out together? Dr. Mansour came out first because he was in that same time. Dr. Tagoni went to residency for orthodontics. But as soon as he finished, he came out. And that was the first genesis of, hey, we like the group practice model. We want to create something similar. How do we do that? Let's collaborate. And at first it was just because that would be fun. And then it became, bigger than that.
And as I've watched all of you interact over the years, and there's 5 of you that are out of the original founders, but Jim Collins in Good Great, one of the things he talks about is the most important decision you'll ever make is who's on the bus.
Yes.
Even if you don't know where the bus is going, who's on the bus? It's important, because if you like the people on the bus, if you like working with them, you like being around them, you'll figure out you'll figure out a place to go together. And you guys are just, I think, a beautiful example of that. Is I'm sure you have your moments, but you get along together, the harmony's there, and you figured out a way to carry on a friendship in the form of an amazing dental practice.
Thank you. Yeah, the other 2 partners, Dr. K, who's my actual first roommate at UCLA in the dorms, and then Dr. Dunklin, pediatric dentist. All of us came together, one first through friendship. We then brought that into business. And you're right, through the years, right? We all got married together at different times. We all had kids together at different times. All of those things bring, I think, complexity into scaling the business. One of the books I read early on that I think is a fantastic read, Michael Eisner wrote a book around why great partnerships succeed. I think it's something like that. And he's the Disney guy that did all that, but the book is actually, he takes like 12 or 15 stories of other businesses and partnerships that he studied, and through all of that, what I took away as the big theme was, in every single one of those partnerships that succeeded in every type of industry and sports and anything you take, there was a selflessness on both sides that were willing to give first before taking.
Yeah.
And I think that's something consistent amongst the 5 of us. If there's a situation, one of us, both sides will typically say, no, you go first. I'm going to give before I take. And that leads to solutions typically versus, and we clash. I mean, everybody does, but we've been lucky to make it, almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
And this far.
All right. I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna navigate to where you can find this, because there's an incredible library online of interviews just like this. This is our newest one. So you're gonna look at my desktop here. This is crowncouncil.com. If you go to my directory, the Premium Member Hub, and in the Premium Member Hub, you will see the Mentor of the Months. So all Mentor of the Month. So we haven't updated it yet, but inside the Mentor of the Month recordings, This is where you see all of these interviews with Crown Council members, members inside dentistry, influencers inside dentistry, and this is our catalog of these interviews. So the newest one with Sam will be updated and put there in your library to watch and listen to and learn from Sam. So that's an hour-long interview. Super grateful for Dr. Z. So. All right, I've got one more video to play. This is an interview with Alan Tuig of Bent Erickson, one of our resource partners. Really fun interview. Grateful for Alan to spend just about a 20-minute interview together. I'll let him introduce the topic. So enjoy. Okay, hold on. It's a live show. It's kind of jammed up. Let's just see what's going on. Let me reopen it.
Clients as a 2-day training. That's here at Thames. My light is not your brick.
All right, hold on. Sorry. I'm just getting it to where it needs to be. I had to reopen this file.
It's
Sorry.
anyways. We can make it if you want to.
Just got to scrub through this video real quick. Okay, I'm there. All right, let me share my screen. There might be a little introduction here that where me and Alan are talking, but we'll get through it. Here we go. Ready?
So
Looks good.
I'm excited about that. Okay. Cool. So ready when you are.
Okay. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Crown Council Live. I'm Stuart, joined by Alan. Alan, I don't want to make everybody feel bad, but my favorite guest, I'm always excited for what you bring.
You say that to everybody.
I
Come
don't
on
go
now.
back and watch the other episodes. I just think that the stuff you present is not only very interesting, but also very actionable. Like I can walk away and be like, okay, there's 3 things we can do today that will make us a better practice. So grateful that you're here. We already have your slide deck up. Looking forward to whatever. We got about 15, 20 minutes together. So I'll just turn it over to you. Take it away.
Okay. All right. Well, I just want to share with folks a few things that I've been thinking about lately and some things that I think may be relevant and helpful for people. I mean, obviously, we're talking about HR and the world of HR, which I know is not everyone's favorite topic. I get that. In our world, and I think more and more people are getting the awareness that, the team, the HR, the labor short, I mean, all of these things are important. So here's kind of how I think about it. And I always like to start with context, right? Because where we stand today in 2026 in the industry, I think is really important. So every practice watching has their big goals, whatever those are, fee for service, multiple locations, even just working less and enjoying your life. Whatever those big goals are, you need really good, solid, amazing people on your team to make those big goals happen. So what that means is that all of your practice systems, your scheduling, your case acceptance, your technology, all of your billing, all of those practice systems are absolutely dependent on your HR systems because you need those really amazing people to be properly trained and stick around and not leave and all of that. So it means that you got to be building and keeping that really solid team. And it just means that all of your various HR procedures, all of this stuff, whether it's hiring, recruiting, onboarding, performance management, handling difficult employees, all of those things, all of them basically have to be successful, because if we're failing in those areas, then it means in a sense, the whole thing collapses. Now, in terms of where we kind of stand in HR and dentistry, so been through sort of COVID and Great Resignation, we are definitely seeing a little bit more stability in the dental HR market. We're not seeing as many people, quitting as rapidly or moving around. But the bottom line is we're still in a labor shortage. There is simply just a lack of supply of people out there right now. And unfortunately, the forecasts from Bureau of Labor Statistics, ADA, Health Policy Institute, et cetera, the forecasts are not good. This actually may get worse before it gets better. And competition is up there because it just means that then all the practices out there are now competing for the remaining people that are good, high quality, et cetera. Obviously, we don't want people in our practice that are lame or, downright toxic, but it just means that all of our HR systems have to be successful. And I really want to emphasize something here about money and benefits. And I love this quote from Dan Clark that if they come for money, they'll leave for money, because we get so fixated in HR about, oh, well, we got to be at the highest end of the labor, wage scale, or we have to offer all the benefits, and no one's going to want to work for us if we don't have that. And that's just not the case. When you look at data, you look at surveys, you look at Gallup, over and over and over again, that's not what it boils down to. Now, one of the things it does boil down to is trust. How much trust and confidence your employees have in you as the leader, in your practice, where you're going, your mission, vision, values, et cetera. It's also worth talking about, what does a really awesome, high quality rock star employee want? I'm not interested in putting up a bunch of slides about what mediocre employees want or lame employees want, because the reality is, an employee that is just there to kind of punch the clock and go home, we don't really care what that person thinks. And ultimately, what they want is not what you want. They're going to want a practice where there's no structure and it's just a free for all, and every day is, wacky. What the Rockstar employees want, they want fairness and consistency. That's a big one. They also want kind of what I call an optimal work environment, which is having the right amount of resources. And that can be time, that can be equipment, that can just be really just enough minutes in an hour to get done what they need to get done. Because again, we're talking about rock star employees. These are people who genuinely want to do a good job. They want to provide for their families. They want to help the patients. So having that is absolutely something that's important. Another big one is growth opportunities. Now, typically when you say growth opportunities, people think, oh, well, I'm just a small dental practice. I'm not a giant DSO. I can't give people 25 rungs on a career ladder. Well, growth opportunities don't have to be that. They can just be continuing education. They can be additional skills. It can be new technology. You may just find that some people are interested in switching completely. You may have someone who's a front desk person, but they're going, man, I really would like to try hygiene and give that a try. And you may go, holy cow, I would love to have an awesome, amazing hygienist. So this is just kind of the importance of having regular communication with your employees, doing those one-on-ones. What do they want? What are they looking for, et cetera. And then the last one here is just clear expectations. I mean, you would think that that's something we don't even need to talk about, but there is so much that we could say about clear expectations, because if you've ever been in a practice where there's not clear expectations and people are kind of going, well, am I supposed to do that? Does she do that? Or I don't take out the trash. That's someone else's job. Just all those kind of little things, or some new person comes in and they're constantly on their cell phone. You go, well, that's not how we do it. Well, has that been made clear to this person? All of those kinds of things, they derail your progress toward those big goals. And this is, of course, just a very quick summary. I mean, there's stuff that we could talk about around, there's a thing that Gallup does called their Q12, which is 12 items that lead to high employee engagement. There's a lot we could say about that, but this is just a real quick overview. Now, another thing that Rockstar employees actually do want genuinely is compliance. They want a practice to be running well and smoothly and properly. Now, I know when you say compliance, everyone starts to yawn and, this is boring. I don't like compliance. Yeah, we know OSHA, HIPAA, compliance, whatever. Well, the thing that I would like people to think about is that compliance and trust really do go hand in hand, because again, we're talking about really good rock star employees. What they want is they want compliance, because compliance ensures fairness, consistency, following the rules. It means the employee is never going to get almost like the short end of the stick, because you're going to, cut corners or say, oh, well, we're not going to give you that because I don't want to, but really that's required in your state or as a federal thing. You can also think about compliance as a differentiator, because compliance also is about recognizing that if we were to audit all of the dental practices in the whole country right now, we would find a lot of compliance violations. I can tell you that. And most practices do not have a really good solid mechanism for getting into compliance and then staying in compliance over time. I mean, just in the last 5 years, we've pushed out 328 policy changes, policy updates, and those are either new laws or changes to existing laws. So 328 over a 5-year period. So if you haven't updated your employee handbook in 5 years, you're way out of date at this point. So differentiating yourself by saying to an applicant or saying in your job postings, like, we are a practice that follows the rules, we're consistent, we're fair, etc. That will attract rock star people. Now, the people that don't like rules and they want a practice where they can make the rules themselves and it's a free for all, and you can almost like manipulate the doctor and the leadership and stuff. Those people will not even apply to a practice that is very forward saying, we are fair, consistent, follow the rules, in compliance, etc. Todd Stanton is a well-known labor attorney, wrote a book called The 95%. And this, I love this quote from him that really just speaks to this idea that he does a really nice job, I think, of blending HR compliance and sort of that world of HR compliance with culture and creating a great place to work. But this idea that, we hear this all the time right now. People will have an employee that's not performing very well, or they're kind of mediocre, and they'll go, well, I don't want to discipline the person because they may get mad and they leave. And that's the wrong way to think about it. You want to think about what is the impact on everybody else if you don't confront this person. So, and that's his idea of the 95%. So I also want to talk about AI in HR, because there's been a lot, obviously, out in the world about AI right now. It's incredibly fast moving. There's AI already in dentistry in the form of systems and chart note tools, and certainly on the marketing side. I want to talk about AI specifically with HR. And I was going to do this one at a time, but I guess you're going to see all of it once. So I definitely recommend that you use AI for the fun stuff. So, if you want to get creative in your job postings, which you certainly should, or just kind of some cool little clever stuff that you want to stir in, I think that's great. The compiling brainstorming thing is there because it can be difficult, I think, to sit down with just a blank piece of paper and just write out something like why a really high quality candidate should choose my practice versus the practice down the street. That's the unique employment proposition. But you can do kind of a word dump and then put that into AI, give you some great stuff. If you have job descriptions and they maybe are old and need to be updated, you can use AI for that. I would just say be very careful, read absolutely word for word what it spits out. AI definitely has been known to hallucinate a lot and come up with stuff that is not real. And I would not be surprised if AI came back and was like, oh yeah, employees need to use the flux capacitor or something. It's like, we don't have those in our dental practice. That's made up. Definitely do not use AI for writing HR compliance policies or real heavy HR compliance stuff. It is just not there. There have been so many things we've seen recently where AI just full on either makes something up. Like there was a case, there was a state where someone was asking about meal period waivers, because some states that have meal period requirements, the employees can waive those, but some states don't. AI was saying that this particular state did have that. In reality, it did not. Another example was a state where employees were going to ChatGPT and saying, hey, are we supposed to get paid sick leave? And AI was saying yes. In reality, what it was doing was it was misinterpreting an internal state government document that basically was for employees of the state government. Now, it was a .gov URL, so AI was like, oh, this must be real, must be legit, but it was not. It was misinterpreting that. So it's just not there yet. So I just would not recommend using it for that. Similarly, with using AI for compliance risks and assessing kind of legal vulnerabilities, this is things like, You're going to maybe fire someone. You're finding out, okay, what are my risks? Is this high risk, low risk? Do I need more documentation? Again, AI is just not there yet. Now, the thing that I really think is important for everyone to think about, though, is that patients and employees do have access to AI. So a patient can go to AI and say, hey, were they supposed to charge me for this? Or were they supposed to inform me of the risks of this procedure? Or did that, that kind of thing. I think we're going to see an increase potentially in certain malpractice claims. And I think it will also encourage employees to go there and say, hey, am I supposed to get paid for this? Or how many weeks of this am I supposed to get? Now, it's definitely not perfect. It's not going to give a perfect answer, but it might be 70%, 80% right. And that at least is enough to put someone on a path. Because if you think about, let's say, Stuart, you were a disgruntled employee in 1985 and you wanted to, go after your employer. You had to do a lot of work in 1985. I mean, you had to go find a lawyer, you had to go to a law library. Information was not readily available. But nowadays you ask AI and it'll at least get you pointed in the right direction. And the takeaway there is just you as an employer, you've got to up your game with compliance. You can't just say, oh, well, I'm in a relatively easy state. My employees would never do that, or no one will ever find out about this stuff. You have to assume that all of this stuff is going to get found out about. Okay. One last thing here is HR training. So we all know that there's no formal training in dental school on HR and HR compliance and rules and laws and how do you hire people, how do you fire people, all that. Office managers similarly do not get any kind of actual formal training. It's a little bit of kind of on the job, feet to the fire kind of thing. We have a new thing that we've started doing, and it's called People Power. And it's a 2-day in-person immersive training course in HR. So we cover absolutely everything in a foundational kind of medium depth way. So it's leadership, it's culture. We cover just basic fundamentals like wage and hour rules. We cover recruiting, hiring, onboarding. We also cover all the common life circumstances. So what happens if someone gets pregnant? What if someone needs a medical leave of absence? What if two employees are fighting with each other? We also cover all of the corrective action steps. So someone who's not performing well, how do we go through their issues? How do we examine things? How do we adjust everything in a way that's really good? And if we do need to terminate someone, we absolutely cover that as well. And, the steps to take. Really what this is about is kind of the first of its kind in dentistry as a training course that's truly comprehensive, that really is everything. This isn't just a little bit of leadership or just something on pregnancy. We are covering everything. And it's also incredibly confidence boosting. Everyone that's done this has come out and said, I am so much more confident. I feel prepared to actually handle stuff. So just want to mention that. I know it's a little bit of a shameless plug, but this is so critical right now in dental because we're in this labor shortage and our HR systems have to be successful. And we can't just say, well, if someone leaves, we'll just find a good person tomorrow. We really need to develop our people in a really good way and do everything we can to stack the deck so that people don't leave. So that's what I had for you guys today.
How do we sign up for it, Alan? Is there like a little link on your website or what's best?
Yeah. Folks can go to our website. I'll give you a link to share. It's just all on our website, benerickson.com.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Dude, I love it. This is the reason I love this is because when I talk to you, it's always about you say HR is boring. It is not. It meshes perfectly with the Crown Council mission, which is culture has to be trained, worked on, talked about, written down, reviewed, rewarded. I mean, it's not just like, hey, let's make a great practice. Well, hope it works. It's like, no, if we want someone to do a certain thing, let's set the expectation, let's review it, let's write it down, and let's make sure that everyone on the team is compliant and we know what's happening. It can't just be like, oh yeah, new girl's got a phone. Well, hopefully she just doesn't use it when the patient's here. It's like, no, we have to train talk about that and work on it together. I just love how those two things mesh together whenever we talk, because I'm always thinking about how to make the team better, how to improve our culture. So appreciate it, man. This is awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so important. So important. And yeah, the mission and the alignment with Crown Council is wonderful. So yeah, always happy to be here and happy to share. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Alan. I will post your links with our when we do the live stream. I'll post the links. I'll make sure that everybody can get to you and find you and connect with any questions. So thank you, everybody. This hour went so fast. Thanks to Dental Intelligence and Ashley, Dr. Sam Zarabi, and especially Alan. We're grateful for each of our guests. We'll be back next week. Thank you for joining, whether it's recorded or whether it's live. We're grateful for this community and thankful to be with you each week. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.